This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cage Side Press here with the PFL flyweight who is entering the now World Tournament, not season, for 2025, Liz Carmouche. Liz, first of all, kickoff of another year of MMA. Just how are you feeling? How are you doing ahead of the return to action?
I'm good. I'm excited to have another season with PFL, another opportunity with them.
So let's work backwards. So the fight with Tyler Santos, one of the bigger fights on um, uh, the calendar, I think, for the women's flyweights for the whole season when people were breaking down the potential matchups. Did not go your way. Just I know obviously the weight and everything was also part of it. Just looking back on it now, months later, just what did you think of everything and how it all went down?
Yeah, definitely missing weight. I think put me kind of in a mental place where I wasn't able to go out there and pull the trigger the way I needed to. When of all times that was the most important part, right? If you're already down on a point, the last thing you want to do is not come out guns blazing. And I know that all things considering it was a difficult weight cut, missed weight, got in my head about it. She still didn't put me out. She didn't finish me, right? It had to go to the decision, which gives me more confidence going into the season with I'm pretty sure that she's going to be the person I see in the finals. But knowing that I've already experienced her hardest punch, her hardest shots, everything she had to offer, and none of it was able to stop me. So that means I can come out even stronger this time with more likelihood of having that hand raised.
And then she went on to the final. Were you surprised at all by the results? I think a lot of people didn't expect, even if you picked Dakota Ditcheva to win, for it to play out quite the way it did. What were your thoughts on the final?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I definitely thought that Santos was going to give Dakota a little bit more of a run for her money. Just from seeing how clean that Dakota's striking is, knowing her efficiency, being able to hunt for the body, find it, and get that finish. I'm not surprised by that. I'm just surprised that it wasn't more of a back and forth before the outcome came to that resolution. That definitely was a surprise. But again, Dakota's talented, and there's a reason that she is where she is today.
When the season got done, and obviously, once again, some fighters it's expected we'll see them later on. I think a lot of people, just fans and everything else, probably don't want to wait until the middle of the year to see champions like Dakota return. One of the things that was thrown out there by herself included is like, hey, the last big name that should be made in the women's flyweight division feels to be Dakota versus Liz Carmouche. Did they reach out to you at all about any kind of potential matchup with her prior to getting the ball rolling for the tournament this year?
Not at all. And it's definitely something that I've thrown out there as well. That seems like, everybody's asked, like, what happens to the Bellator Flyweight Championship? Did you give it up? Is it what's going on? And my answer is always, I am just as much lost as you guys are. And you honestly, like, especially with PFL, I feel like more often than not, I hear about updates in the news from media before I actually find out myself. So I haven't heard anything. I put it out there in feelers in the hopes of having an opportunity. And I feel like the outcome of this tournament and the whole World League will ultimately decide who's able to face Dakota.
Gotcha. On that note, so I'm assuming they also don't know we've heard about, kind of like the unification of titles and where they're all going with PFL now Champion Series. They have not given you any update on having that be a potential title, like a Champion Series belt. That is also not into the conversation.
Nothing, nothing. If there are conversations being had, I'm being left out of those conversations.
Oh, criminal, criminal. All right. Well, certainly, look, we are getting back to action. Fellow Bellator veteran Ilara Joanne, she's obviously been around a minute and also developed under the Bellator brand, now PFL. What are your thoughts on her game?
Yeah, I'm excited for that matchup. The benefit that we have within PFL is we get to see the development that each fighter makes for every single fight, right? You're backstage, you're watching, you get to see, sometimes you're right next to them warming up and you get to see what their routine is, how their jitters, everything like that. And so having had that chance, it's just cool now to be on the opposing side and not warming up backstage with her, but confident for what I have to bring to the table, but excited for also what she has because she's still young and she's still evolving each fight.
Going into this, I think a lot of the fighters love the idea of single elimination tournament. I mean, there's pros and cons. On the one hand, you could, one of the things about the point system, you could lose your first fight, still potentially make it into the next round. However, there's sometimes, you know what, everyone wants to finish. Sometimes you're in a competitive close one, and winning is all that matters. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like you personally like the idea of single elimination, or was there something a little bit of a wiggle room with the points that you liked?
Yeah, the excitement with the points I liked is just it seemed to make an incentive for fighters to go out there and gun for the finish as soon as possible, right? So that way they have the most positive outcome of getting the most points to be able to advance through the tournament. With this, I feel like people are going to play a little bit safer, especially because there are elbows involved. So I think some people are going to try and coast and control more to get to decision rather than go out there guns blazing, trying to do as much damage as possible, utilizing the idea that we now have elbows and that makes things more exciting. So for me, that's not something I'm looking for. I don't want to fight somebody that's just looking to play it safe and kind of just ease into a decision. I'm looking for somebody else that also wants to get a strong finish and is willing to put it all on the line. So that's my big incentive. But of course, with that single elimination, it's not like all right, cool, I did everything possible, but I only finished with 5 points. Everybody else finished with six. And you're like, oh, maybe I'm not actually advancing. So I do like that I don't have to have that guesswork is taken out. I don't have to worry about where do I fall and everything. But I also like the incentive of pushing for everybody to get those strong finishes.
On that note, when you look at the bracket now, no one is gonna necessarily write everything in. Obviously, anything could happen. People could always get switched out with injury and what have you. Some familiar faces, some new names. Do you feel particularly invested in what you would like, rematches with people like Kana and Tyler, or, do you see some of those new faces and say, I kind of want to round out my resume and show that I did beat as many people as possible?
Yeah, I'm big on doing exactly that, is rounding out my resume. I want to be able to face new faces, new types. I doing like the rematch, even if it's an exciting one, it's like, well, it's already been done, win or lose. I want to face new phases and new challenges as much as possible. So having new people in the mix makes it a lot more exciting for me.
And then just talking a little bit more about, the year in general. So the schedule's already mapped out more or less for when everyone's going to fight, depending on how far you go into the tournament. What is Liz Carmouche looking to add? Like, for example, if they add some of these events post-season, like in other locales outside of the United States, is that something you're still looking to be a part of? Do you push PFL to say, hey, like if you guys have a card over here, would love to be a part of it? What is some of the things on your wish list with the company?
Yeah, I think I've got kind of two things on my wish list with the company. One, that champion to champion opportunity to be able to face Dakota, right? Have that the Bellator versus PFL champion. But also, I would love a chance to fight overseas and to be able to use that as an excuse to go travel outside of the country and go see new venues, see new faces, and just different types. We in the United States, you kind of get an idea of the strongest talent they bring here. But I know other countries have great talent. I'd love a chance to go out there and to maximize everything that I have out there available.
Side note, you were Ilima's last fight at Bellator 300. She's obviously continuing her career. You guys have been close for so long. Just what do you think of what she's going to bring to the GFL in that next chapter over there?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. GFL looks like it has such a promising possibility for all their fighters. And if it takes off the way that they're promising and the hopes are, then she has a great opportunity in front of her. And I know that the talent that she brings is a 125er. I know she's training at my gym back in San Diego, and I know some of the people she's training with. So her game is improving even far beyond what it had been. And so I think that this is going to be great for her. And I think they're going to see her step up and show new parts of her game.
Well, I know you guys have been so close. I think that there was something, want to see both of you guys kind of get the hand raised in San Diego that night. So I think a lot of people like seeing that she's going to continue on for a bit. Finally, Liz, what can fans expect when you get into the smart cage with Ilara Joanne?
They can see me looking to do one of my bucket list finishes. In my career, there are certain things I've hoped to achieve, things that I want to try, crazy and ridiculous as it may seem, but that I do in practice. And I'm looking to do one of those finishes come April 11th.
I take it you want to keep it a secret for Miss Joanne?
Exactly.
Fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Liz Carmouche, Ilara Joanne, PFL World Tournament. Hers is on April 11th, 2025 in Orlando, Florida. You guys are not going to want to miss it. Liz, best of luck.
Thank you.